There we go.
Hey, hey! I'm Candy, and I'm the owner of Order Your Spaces, a professional organizing company serving Mobile and Baldwin counties. I get the privilege every week of entering into women's homes and helping them to reduce the stress by reducing the clutter, and then we find a home for all their belongings. And I like to call that part organization. Now today, I've got my friend Liz on here. I thought it would be good to just interview a young professional mom that works out of her home and talk about toy organization. That seems to be a real thing with all moms. So I'm just going to ask Liz some questions, and I hope maybe you girls will gain some tips. So hang with us all the way to the end. Hey, Liz.
Hi, good morning.
All right, if you notice, we're sitting in the playroom closet, okay? And so I'm going to ask Liz about her containers and her system for containing toys. Tell us about that, Liz.
Well, you can see everything has a container in here. They all match, which is my personal preference, but they don't have to. And one of the things we've done is we have organized everything by type of toy and category, and we've put a label on it. The ones that we have, we love. They've got snap-on lids and handles, so you can take them with you anywhere you'd like.
So the thing I do like about what she mentioned about the snap-on lids, girls, versus just the lids that kind of just fit, is you can pick it up like this and tote it. And your children can pick it up like this. And the lid doesn't jump off of it and everything spills on the floor. So just a little tip about even the type of container that you purchase. It can make a difference in keeping the toys from spilling over. Now, I noticed, Liz, that nothing is in an open container without a top. Now, why do you choose that method?
Definitely not. For one of the reasons that we just talked about, which is the toting. So I try to keep my kids' play confined to upstairs, their bedrooms, ideally the playroom. That doesn't always happen, as we all know. Mm-hmm. Kids sometimes want to take things other places. If I'm a little tired, frankly, I don't mind laying on the couch and letting them bring a couple of things down at a time. It's easy for them to transport things somewhere. When we go on vacation, I usually let them each pick their favorite bin, and we take one bin on vacation so they have something to do there. So just the ease of transportation is why one of the reasons why we really have to have those snap-on lids. And then just so pieces don't get lost. I try not to bring in too many toys that have lots and lots of pieces. But for things like blocks, you're going to want more than 2 or 3.
Legos.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the Legos.
The Legos.
So for those things, I feel like you really just need to keep them contained.
Yes. Do you feel like it helps, Liz? It helps your children even when they have lids on them, because then they don't pull out, or maybe they do, pull out 10 bins and take 10 tops off, and then, or maybe my real question for you, Liz, should be, how do you keep 10 bins from being opened and all the toys just getting all mixed up? Or does that just happen?
Sometimes, but it's pretty rare. And one of the things that we do is the stuff that is really tiny or really messy is up higher, where they can't reach it. So all of these, you'll see the stamps. I don't want anybody touching the stamps and the stamp pads, because I've had this entire room stamped before. So the things that are really messy, or things like beads, you can see behind
markers, paint, stamps.
All of those things, Shopkins, all the teeny tiny stuff is up higher where they have to have an adult access it. And then down here, we have some of the really larger bins where it's okay if they pull down all of these, because there aren't as many of them, and they kind of know, even if sometimes they get them in the wrong bins and the label's not right, that's okay. My girls that are 2 and 4 years old know that the blocks go together. And so when it's time to clean up, they know to put all the blocks in one, and they know to put all of the, this type of toy in another one.
I like that. So you're saying that a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old that cannot read your labels, you are saying that they understand categories.
Absolutely. And it takes some training, but they have great memories. As you probably know, if you have ever promised a child something and not delivered on it, they have very good memories. And so if you kind of get into the habit of showing them, we're going to put all of these blocks together, they're able to categorize very, very easily. And even astonishingly, in their closets, they've got cubbies that are labeled, and they know what goes in which, even though they can't read. They know the dolls kind of go in this one. So yes, they're absolutely able to function within the system even without being able to read. And Of course, you can use
I
picture
love
labels.
that. Yes.
And some people like picture labels.
Yes.
I've found that I do have one reader and one kind of emerging reader. And so I've found with that, we haven't found the picture labels necessary. But if you've got really teeny tinies, you may want to go that route.
But I like the idea that you don't have to have a picture label because a 4-year-old can understand categories.
Yes.
Blocks go with blocks, and Legos go with Legos, and ponies
All
go
the
with
ponies.
ponies. I like that. That's encouraging, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't have to have something fancy. You don't have to go print out certain kinds of labels.
No, and I would even argue that the younger your children are, the less fancy your system needs to be.
Right, right. Okay, so here's my question. You've got babysitters coming in, and it's not mom, it's a babysitter. And do you train your babysitters? Do you have a little discussion with your babysitters? How do you get your babysitters on board with this system? Or do you just come home and everything's a wreck and you have to clean it up? How does that work?
If I don't say anything, that's usually how it ends up. Normally what I tell them is, and I tell them this in front of my kids, so everybody knows who's accountable and that we're all on the same page.
Okay.
I normally tell a babysitter, which includes Mima and Granddaddy and Grandma and Grandpa.
The KKs.
Yes, who can sometimes be a little more permissive, that my kids know how to clean up and that they know that they're supposed to ideally clean up one thing before they move on to the next. Now, it's okay if we end up with 2 or 3 things out at a time, but they know that they can't then go downstairs for a snack and watch TV while everything else is still out up here. So they know that if they're going to move forward with something else, they need to put it away. And I think what you were saying, you know, about it being encouraging that 2-year-olds and 4-year-olds know how to do that. Sometimes babysitters aren't aware that kids that young can and will clean up on their own. And to an extent, most, you know, enjoy order. They love making a big mess, but they don't love living in a big mess.
Good tip.
So I think at the end of the day, you know, just letting the babysitter know that the kids are capable and that they are expected to do that gives them the confidence to say, okay, guys, we're going to clean up. Who can help me put all of the blocks in this one?
So I like that. So it's just setting the expectation with the grandmas and the babysitters.
Yes. Yeah.
And that way everybody's on the same page.
Yes.
And it's not expecting the babysitter to be a mind reader or the grandmother to be a mind reader.
Right.
It's educating everyone, and so that it's not a big mess. And I like the tip. I hope you caught this tip that Liz just said. Children love to create messes, but they don't like to live in the mess.
Yeah.
So that's a very good tip to know, because I do feel like they want to get 2 or 3 things out, because maybe they want to use the ponies inside the Lego castle they built. That's being creative,
absolutely.
Right? Hey, Rachel, thanks for joining us. But I mean, there's no rule of thumb here, but truthfully, I don't feel like they can play with 10 things at one time.
No, I don't think that they're able to do all of that at once. I think you're right. You know, not to be super rigid and to allow them some flexibility and some creativity. But same thing, you know, if my kids want to take a castle and then take the dollhouse people and put them in there, we have no problem with them mixing those things up. But they don't also need Play-Doh involved. So.
Right. Okay, so to make sure that you girls, if some of you that might have joined halfway through on our video today, some tips that Liz has shared about toy organization with her 4 young children, and only one is a reader.
Yeah.
Okay, anything with the small pieces that requires adult supervision, she puts it up on the top shelf so that her children have to ask for it, okay? The toys that are larger, bigger, chunkier parts, like your Duplos and your ponies and your blocks, she puts those on the bottom where her young children can reach those and get those. I thought that was a really good tip. The reason that she chooses clear bins with snap-on tops is to make it easy to transport toys, because, you know, ideally we would love to say that our children keep all the toys in the playroom, but they don't. Sometimes they want to bring a bin downstairs in the main living area, and they can do that easily by choosing a bin with a top and a latch. So that was another tip she shared with us today. And then she also shared that her young children know how to use categories, and they cannot read, but they do understand that blocks go with blocks and ponies go with ponies, and so they are able to put things back in the right bin even at the young age of 2 and 4. So that was something else she shared with us. And also that children have to learn to clean up after themselves before they can move on to the next activity. I do think that's something that happens a lot with us moms because we're busy and we're tired, and they're like, oh, I want to run outside and play. Well, you just left the playroom a mess.
Yeah.
And so she kind of shared also that they're encouraged to go ahead and pick up what you just played with before you move on to your next activity. I hope these tips have helped you today. I know I can get on and share about these all day long, but obviously I'm an empty nester. Now, I did raise 3 kids, okay? But Liz is living in the throes of this, and I think it's good to hear from somebody that actually is living the life. And I always share this. There's more than one way to skin a cat. This is one way to organize toys, one way to train young children, not the only way. Okay, Liz, one last question for you today. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for giving your time. Do you find that you can just kind of come up here and do this once a week, or is toy sorting, toy organizing, toy pickup, does that have to happen every day or once a week?
Well, that's one of those things like you were just saying. It's going to be different for every family. Based on how many things your kids get out at a time and what your tolerance is for the things being out. My tolerance for stuff being everywhere is pretty low. So I have my kids generally pick up every day in their playroom and try to put things away in the closet every night. As they're getting pajamas on, I kind of make sure all the bins go back in. There are little things that end up here and there. Mm-hmm. One of the things we love is we have one basket on our stairs. Anything that makes its way downstairs that belongs upstairs, I throw in that basket. And anything that I find a little piece of, let's say, we have a big bin of games. If I find a checker, I have a large bin up here in the playroom. So I have one upstairs and one on our stairs. Those we go through about once every week or so. And we kind of actually make that a game for the kids. We'll say it's stair basket day, and they actually kind of like it, strangely. So we'll take the stair basket up and dump everything out, and I'll, say, who can find out what goes in the play kitchen? And so they'll pull out a scoop of ice cream and a plate and everything and run that over to the play kitchen. And then we'll say, okay, where do all of these things go? And they'll know that it's the calico critters. So we'll pull that bin down. And I find that keeps things relatively organized. It doesn't keep me running around like a crazy person every single day. Mm-hmm. But it does give us an opportunity about once every week or so to make sure that all the little odds and ends that end up kind of scattered. Mm-hmm. My kids are 7, 4, 4, and 2. So there's a lot of scattering. It does give us an opportunity to really make sure those all go back where they belong about once a week, and that everybody participates in that.
So I hope you girls really caught on to this last tip that Liz just shared, which is everything doesn't always get put back in the bin, and she finds little odds and end pieces all over the house, but she has a special bin that she just throws the odds and ends into the bin, and just once a week they sort through that bin and put the miscellaneous toys back where they go. So you don't have to do that every day. You can just do it once a week and include your children and make a game out of it. I thought that was a really great tip. So I see that Adrienne is on here, and she has asked, is this in their rooms? This is actually, Liz has the privilege of having a playroom. Everyone doesn't have a playroom, but this is a closet we're sitting in. We're actually sitting in the front door of the closet, okay? So this is a closet. It's not in their bedroom. It could be in their bedroom. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter where. It just matters that you have one central location for all toys.
Yes.
This is just her playroom, but it could be a bedroom. Can I tell you that when I was raising my 3 children, we did not have a playroom, and I didn't want toys in their bedrooms. That was just a personal preference, not a right or wrong, okay? I had a hall closet, literally a closet that was probably intended for linens in my 1975 house, okay? And I took that huge linen closet and made it the play closet, and it stayed the play closet for 10 years. Didn't have a playroom, but they would just go in the hallway, open up the linen closet, which was just like this with bins and labels and stuff, and they would get what they wanted to play with, and they would have to bring it into our living room, because we didn't have a playroom. So you can see there's lots of ways to make this work. But I did designate a place, a closet for all toys, and then they would just have to go get those, go play with them, and put them back up. So, Adrienne, I hope that answered your question. there's lots of ways to do this. Ladies, thanks for watching in. I hope you got some great tips today that maybe would help you with your young children. Toys after Christmas, I think it's every mom's like, what are we going to do with more toys? And you heard me share in December, let go of the ones they don't play with anymore. Just let go of them. Donate them to some charity, your favorite organization, where some child maybe that doesn't have a ton of toys could have some to play with you. You're welcome, Adrian. Anyway, as always, girls, I ask you to share this video with anyone that you believe could benefit from these video tips. And the way that you and I are going to stay friends, and the way that I'm going to stay in your news feed, is for you to engage with me. So leave me a thumbs up if you're watching this on the replay, or a smiley face, or a thumbs down, or whatever you want to do. But make sure that you engage with me so we can stay friends in 2019, and we can help one another on this journey of less clutter, more calm, less chaos. Thanks a lot. We'll talk soon. Have a great Monday. Bye now.
Bye.